So I guess I'll just mention also the cutoff points that I've learned, and then we can finish this video from Franco de Nicola, the beautiful, lovely, late Franco de Nicola. Um, and it resonates with everything that I know. It resonates. So, and there have to be these cutoff points because we're talking about cycles, just like the Kali Yuga and the cycles of the, all the celestial bodies, and Earth going through the what is it called, Chiron belt, or photonic ring, where light is really, it's a part of the galaxy. We're part of the galaxy where light is the densest, and because it's traversing that equate, we're traversing the equator. And also what I'm getting, and what I got before, was that we're a Taurus unto ourselves. When we are ready to, our soul is ready to re-emerge with our twin soul, and that would be also re-emerge with that one soul who we are, who is both in both bodies, yeah, in the female and the male body. And then these are two Tauruses coming together. So that's then when the one Taurus, there comes another one on top, and because now when the bodies now, because in physicality they will then also, it is then the time locked in that they will actually meet each other also in physicality at some point. And then it is literally the two Tauruses becoming one Taurus. However, they don't lose the individual Tauruses, their individual auras, their individuality. That's the beauty. This is the ascension, because when the descension happens, individuality is created, fractals are created. Because like the higher soul, let's say the avatar soul, that is 12 times 12, that's 100 and, oh well, it's actually 24 times 24, and I don't know how much that is, but it's 12 times 12 dual souls, yeah, the two souls, that couple souls, there's 12 times 12 couple souls, and when that descends into the monadic consciousness, whew, 12 times 12, exactly. So when it descends, it makes, well, the 12 monads, that is the avatar soul. So then when it goes, when it creates bodies. Ah, okay. Okay. It creates bodies. So that's how it splits itself. The fractal is already there on the soul level. Oh God, how do I say this? Okay, so on the level of the avatar, it's 12 because he has 12 monadic souls. But when that consciousness goes down, there are how many? There's not just 12 souls, there's 12 times 12 monads, right? Yes. So each one splits itself into 12, and each one of those 12, when it goes lower, so from the monadic soul into the dual soul, each fractal of the monad splits itself into two when it incarnates into female male. Okay, yes. And so when we go back up, yes. But what was I going to say about that? We remember ourselves as the others, and then when we remember ourselves as the others, we can travel, we can experience life through them as well. Like then we don't have to take necessarily our individual light body, our astral body, and go travel only as far as the cord reaches. Right, I already said that. But what is the discrepancy that it can hold in physicality? Right. And there may be limitations to that. Yes. Okay. Okay. Uh, yes. So the cutoff points from Franco de Nicola, who was a ninth dimensional soul. 2040, he says, cut off for the whole planet because the whole planet is in 5D. Then he says 2035 cut off for us. All right, I'm not sure what that means. Let me see. Whole fat planet in 5D. Maybe there's like a 5-year phase where 4D is phasing out. So we have until 2035 until 3D is and inverted anyways, because first the inverted, this is what is happening now. We are now in the transition into organic 3D, but of course a lot of us and a lot of aspects of us, so a lot of within ourselves, yes, like sometimes we vibrate higher, sometimes we vibrate lower, but we already have feelings, we already have thoughts, we already have experiences where we have vibrated into 4D, 5D, and how much of our consciousness is really how the symphony of our makeup is spinning. Yeah. And how much access we already have into consciousness, because it is constantly expanding. 2022 end, finish purging all inverted 3D stuff. Oh, that's nice. Exactly. On Earth. So this is like, and I mean, we've been, what I've heard is that we have been, anyways already, we're like really late, whatever that means. It's like it's been delayed, it's been delayed, it's been delayed. But he was pretty adamant about the 35 and the 40. Like it seems like maybe there's a little bit of wiggle room, but not much. So it's like around that time. I would, this is, oh, my microphone. This is what resonates with me. Everybody can find their own, obviously. I'm just sharing what resonates with me. And so until the end of 2022, he says all inverted 3D will be purged. And that's also why it's also called the Big Purge, because the lower timelines and the lower dimensions are being purged. It's called the harvest because I mentioned it before. Also, it's called the harvest because now the whole entire planet, all souls are ready and have unless those that are not ready, because they're getting their DNA unlocked. Yes. And because they have the potential within them, if they have the potential within them. If they don't, then it's not their time. And all that needs to happen is the heart is opening. And that's what I meant before. It's all happening for us. We're getting dragged along whether we want it or not. If that's in our soul's plan, if that's in our soul's evolutionary, next step. And the only thing in that sense to do, because if you don't do that, but that's not really something that you do anyway, it also happens, is opening of the heart. But it's also good to know, because that's how you can come consciously out of suffering. That's the way out of suffering, is by understanding how this works. Maybe that's an incentive. And to really to know who you are, that you are not the story of who you think you are. You are your soul that is, we just talked about it. That is so much more, so much more than that. And it's like infinite, infinite at how deeply you will, and how, what scope you will gain as that soul, and how many bodies you will experience yourself simultaneously. Because you can process all that power. You have embodied, and we start small. And I say I'm speaking for myself. The first expansion is the one to the twin soul, to even feel that, hey, there is another individual soul that is me, and it has a different flavor all of a sudden when I am. And actually, when that, let's say, that soul would be embodied in front of me, when I am also that other person, that's a flavor that I'm not consciously familiar with in this body. I have never experienced that in this body, and that's what is coming. um that's part of the ascension, isn't it? So now I hear the question ringing in my ears. Well, what about all those people, like including me, but I believe that I will meet. But of course I cannot be sure, because what if that we won't meet our twin, because that twin is already, for example, left their bodies, is not incarnate anymore. And we will still ascend. We will still ascend, and we will, however, feel them on a soul level. And that's a whole other, question and ballpark to dive into, that I didn't want to now, because I wanted to read the cutoff points here. So all inverted 3D purged by the end of 22. But what is purged? Everything. Okay, this is what I'm getting now. What is purged, with when it says finish purging all inverted 3D? What is being purged? Inverted 3D wise. Because inverted 3D is collapsing. So those that are on the lower end of the inverted 3D, they have lost their bodies, or left the planet, or dissolved. Wow. Yeah. It's like that's what was holding us back. That was that opposite spin that I was talking about, sucking out our light from the like black holes in the aura, and because the spin is speeding up so fast, that opposite spin goes slower and slower, because it's getting sucked in, and at some point it goes back into the upward spin, or into the stationary spin, which is like not a spin that is, it's a spin that is coherent, that is now back in alignment with soul consciousness. It's not identifying itself anymore with a false identity, which is the story of just the human being, just the body. That was, this is who I am. The name in my passport, the history I have in this body. We wake up beyond that. It's like we shed this skin. We don't have to shed the body, but in consciousness we shed the skin. But it also then is an upgrade in our DNA, and an upgrade to the body, because the higher frequential body with that comes online, with the soul being, that's the embodiment of the soul. That's the embodiment of the light body. That is what happens with awakening during a time of ascension, on a planet. Yeah. And so what is being purged also, um, Everything that exactly spins in the opposite direction will come back into, yes, exactly. And it's not the end of 22 yet. And as I said, there's a little bit of wiggle room there. And so a lot is still going to happen. Um, yeah, yeah. As of 2023, only organic 3D. I mean, that's so cool. Yeah, that's amazing. As of 2023, only organic 3D on the planet. So it will be very, very hard to keep up in any inverted spin. And inverted spin is also the takers. It's also taking. It is forgetting for the getting and taking. And it's that me against the rest of the world, and we're at war over not enough resources. This is part of that lie, of that narrative, of that belief system that is in that really dense, very discrepant duality, in that uh, disconnection from source. Yeah. And right, and when the spin is back, it can then hear again. It can hear again, like, so to speak, the grand central drum, the heartbeat of the soul, the heartbeat of the Mother Earth, and we're like, again, flowing at one with that coherent, with that heartbeat, so that everything we want to do and everything that we do will naturally be serving the body, be serving the earth, be serving our body, the foods we eat, the lifestyle we have. Um, and this, of course, is abundance, the being aligned with source, with the light. That's how the light streams in and becomes embodied. That is abundance, because that's energy that is connecting with, through the soul, through our soul, into our soul groups, and then finding them in the physicality. And we create like this a light grid at first on a soul level, and then physically we create a whole new economic system as well, a whole new system of living, of support, of coming together. And we are absolutely then, always a quantum leap stronger when we come together than the sum of its parts. um Then it says further, and this is what I just scribbled listening to Franco de Nicola. 3D can only stay until cut off 2035, about in 15 years. Anytime between now and 2035, we can shift into organic 5D. Now, I don't understand why he made a differentiation there and said organic 5D. Is there such a thing as inverted 5D? That makes no sense to me in the understanding that I have so far. So I'm just gonna say this is how he said it, but how I paraphrased it. And anytime between now, we can shift into the 5D 2035, because that's already available. 2035. And this, of course, depends on where we are at with the maturity of our souls, and how those light waves reach us. How ready are we? Are we ready to pop? And they come in and we just like, woo, take off, because now those codes are unlocked? Or are we in a place where those codes still, okay, they come, they dock in, and they're not ready to unlock yet? It needs more. We need to grow more synapses. We need to grow more in order for that code to be able to click open. Yeah. Um, 2035, only 5D as of 2035, in 15 years. Those that want to continue in organic 3D after 2035, they leave vessel or swap souls / drop in. Okay. Ah, yes, that's also I forgot about that possibility. There's so many possibilities. Yeah. So they either leave their vessel and then that soul can go to a different place, a different planet, and as I said before, or they swap souls. I don't know how that would, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, yeah. So that was kind of the framework here of ascension that I go by, and from Franco de Nicola. And is there anything else that he said? Um, just a little bit of N 2022 cutoff for inverted 3D. Yes, we already said that. It falls away. Plus 5D and 3D will crystallize apart. Ah, okay. This is interesting. All right, so one more loop, one more topic that has been surfacing now. Now can receive a framework, and that is how he says interesting. Exactly. So 5D. So after 2022, a split is going to occur. This is how it looks. End of 2022, or inverted 3D falls away. Then we only have, so we have, of course, the 4D still, the Bardo realm, but you can't live in that. That's the in-between realm. And the 5D and the 3D dimensions on Earth, these are also timelines. Perhaps it's one timeline, because I heard Jason Estes said now it's one timeline, from former 3 in 1986, and former to that 22 that merged into 3 in 1986. Okay, I've heard that in a couple places, something like this. 5D, so after 2022, 5D and organic 3D will crystallize apart with loopholes in between them, but they don't run as parallel as now inverted 3D is running. As now we still have inverted 3D left, is running parallel with organic 3D and 5D, which means that at the moment we have, on the whole Earth, we have all three forms still like physically embodied in places. We have the inverted 3D, we have the organic 3D, and we have 5D. And of course there's the 4D. I don't have to mention that anymore, because we're talking embodied. And these are pockets, right? So like, for example, just around us there can be like people that are on the low end of that are in the inverted 3D, and we could be much higher than that. We could already be like in 5D or something. Although I think someone who is really established in 5D would not share much, would not share space with someone who's in inverted 3D. That would maybe only happen when they would have to travel somewhere, like on a, let's say, airport or so, but we're for a short period of time, because that would be kind of exhausting, yeah, and they would feel it. And the other guy would feel it probably even worse. Yeah. Just got that. Yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah, they're not running parallel like it is now. Okay, what? There will be loopholes, but they don't run as parallel as now. Inverted 3D, organic 3D, and 5D are running together now, right? Equals number of active players, playable characters, rest. 64% are non-playable characters. Oh, okay, that whole thing with the playable and non-playable, which are, according to Franco, he uses the word extras, um, you know, or souls, and then extras. And the extras, they don't have a galactic soul. I don't know more about that. I never understood that part so well with what are the extras, the differences, and what are the souls. Are the extras just Earth souls that never had a galactic soul, for example? Um, or what does it mean? That part I don't want to get into, but so as of with the crystallizing apart and then they come back together. So they crystallize apart the ones that are staying, and this is happening now as the inverted 3D is falling away. The ones that are staying in 3D, they still need to make more time in 3D, and the ones that are in 5D or going towards 5D, and this is of course not like 3D 5D, it's everything in between and it's just splitting that way. Wait, how can it be? Then that would mean that they would go down. No, I think it doesn't. They're not going down. The ones on 3D are also coming up, except for the ones that are going down. They're going to be losing their bodies, and they're not meant to ascend. No, the 3D, they're still staying. They need more time in the organic 3D, and the ones that are ready to go to 5D, they're the ones that are splitting off. That's how the split is occurring. And because now it's been running parallel, and then he said that after 22 it's not going to run parallel anymore. It's going to be in pockets, in loopholes, like let's say yeah, they have stations where they can go to each other. They have places like portals where they can go to each other. He also mentioned that as of 2023, everyone will be in their place. Something like that. Or within 2023, everyone is going to find their place on Earth. And things are going to, shift around like the way that we organize, the way that also the people we spend time with and so forth. It's going to have to shift because the ones that are like the first wavers of ascension, that they did their time in 3D. Even like organic 3D, perhaps they'll have a little bit of time, but they're ready, they're already, and you can't help that. It has to do with how fast you're already vibrating, and then these light waves are coming in and they're picking us all up, except if you're vibrating higher, they're picking us up more. It's going faster. It just goes faster, the acceleration. It's kind of like if a bike is already going pretty fast, the acceleration goes faster than if it's going really slow. It's just that because of what? And this I always come back to. It's what I see, what I get. It has, yeah, it's to do with soul maturity. Yeah, how ready the soul is, exactly. So these corridors. That's what the word also I remember he used was corridors that would connect the organic 3D with 5D. But it wouldn't be running parallel anymore. That's a very interesting also concept. Yes, but energetically what's going to happen is that it's just simply going to be harder for the two to share space for a longer period of time. Let's say the way that we're used to it. In the past, this was nothing. This wasn't even happening. We were sharing space naturally, but now for each other, because the discrepancy will grow as the waves come in. The discrepancy will grow. But in the frequency, and that will also mean it will be harder and harder to spend same amounts of time with each other. You know, that's that crystallization apart, and then but we still can connect, we still can communicate, we can still see each other, but maybe not as much time as before. And we might not live in the same house anymore or the same like location and not see each other as much. Until, because the ascending ones, remember, they're taking their bodies and the other ones are also ascending. They're just not in the first wave. So I shouldn't say the ascending ones. I should say the first wavers. Yeah, the first wavers, the older souls. Um, they're going first. They're paving the way, you know. And what's also going to happen as their DNA unlocks and as their higher templates come online, there's going to be also an first of all, the DNA gets healed. The distortion through the light coming in, the light coming in not only unlocks the DNA, but it also heals the distortions. It's like the mother sound is coming through again, and it's more powerful than any other distortion sound that was there and that is maybe still there by just by habit. And it just goes, it just realigns everything, that sound, like energy that comes through, organic energy. I am you, you are me, we are one. That remembrance of I am this, not this, you know, not like this small in a small box and then I'm also all crooked and indented and broken. I can't perform at peak performance anymore. But you know that through the heart center, that love, that I am, you know, that God code, that God spark, that original sound coming through, and like cymatics, bringing everything back into, yes, this is who I am, you know, into that alignment. Yeah. That's happening in the DNA, and then the unlocking is when that can express. That can now come and express, not lie there dormantly asleep anymore, you know. And so what happens is that because the aging program was part of that reincarnation cycle, and we don't need that anymore. You know, now it's time, now a new story comes, now a whole new template, a whole new, not template as in this humanoid template, but as in the higher dimensional template of, and the higher dimensional template of this human template. That comes online, and that a part of that is we don't age anymore, but we also rejuvenate, you know. Yeah, because it's not anymore making a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, you know, within the DNA, but now that replication is always made from the original, always from the original. You know, also it has a framework, of course. You know, the fifth dimension has also a framework. It has its limitations onto itself. However, for us, it's going, what I mean by that is I don't know how long you can hold a fifth dimensional body before it starts to age. If is there a reincarnation cycle on the fifth dimension as well, like a possibility of that, or do we just keep on ascending, ascending, ascending? Not going into that right now, but it has to do because we're on this planet. It's the planet that is going into the fifth, and then it has to do with where our soul is at, you know. Absolutely. That's what it always has to do with. How much time does it need before, you know, in a certain dimension before it can move on and ascend, and also what is the soul mission? What does the soul want to, how does it want to experience itself next? What possible, you know, opportunities, not opportunities, sorry, possibilities does it have from where it's at, and so forth. Yes, in the aging, that we stop aging, that we get younger. Exactly, exactly. Uh-huh. The pockets. Yes, yes. And what's also, of course, at the same time, what is going to be happening now in this time is, as I said before, is that the twin soul, well, it actually is two souls in one, right? Two that are just running in opposite, it is one soul that is running in opposite direction, but that has, you're right, two individual bodies. And so it is two individual souls at the same time as it is one soul. Those are the two fractals of that one soul. Exactly. They're going to be uh, re-emerging as one, being aware of each other as one, and they're also going to be meeting in the physical, and the same then at the next level of the monadic level. So all those clusters of twin souls within the monadic cluster are going to be also physically meeting, and that also means it's a new arrangement. That's also the thing, is like there's going to be a whole new arrangement um, as the new template is coming in. And of course, those are that are finding themselves. Um, the those are the first waivers, and then of course come the next. They do the same thing, but they just do it later. Yeah. Within this, as they say, about 2,000 years, that we are moving through this photon belt. Yeah, but let's not look through further than this. We just want to focus on the ascension now, exactly, and understand the whole structure of it. Okay, so I think I'm gonna thank you.